Good morning. I think that Jim Calhoun has subscribed to the Ned Lamont theory of basketball, and now he's rooting for UConn to be number 3 in the Final Four this week. I used to think that I caught lightning in a bottle when I ran into Jim Calhoun or I had other things happen to me, and now I understand that I merely scaled the mountain high enough to be struck by lightning. And that's how I feel about this ombudsman position. I have not said a word since I gave a statement on February 9th when I got a call from the governor's chief of staff, Johnny Dack, telling me I was not going to be the person. It is a rare and pride-swelling moment when I can force the governor to defy the logic of mathematics because of my advocacy. I am first. I have toiled for 7 long years in the trenches of litigation against the Public Safety Division of the Office of the Attorney General of the state of Connecticut. And let's be clear, this is bare-knuckle fighting.
That's right. That's all.
I have a case that's scheduled to go to trial on April 23rd. Mark Jansen died of a brain tumor, and the federal rules of evidence may prevent him from speaking beyond the grave about what happened to him while he was incarcerated. And since February 9th, and I'd like to welcome Matt Brockman and Patrick Houlihan from the governor's office who interviewed Barbara and I. Thank you for being here. I'm owed an explanation. I'm owed an explanation.
Yes.
I will also note that on February 29th at the Common Cause dinner at the Elizabeth Park Pond House, I ran into Governor Lamont himself. My friend Neil Connors was right there. As we were walking in, the governor was walking out, and I said, "Hi, Governor." And he said, "Hello." Sometimes I wonder if he knows who I am. He didn't offer me an explanation on that day either. And I feel like in March of 2006, I quit my job because I thought the most important thing in the world was working on an anti-war campaign for a gentleman named Ned Lamont. And I'm owed more than that. I'm owed more. We are all owed more than this. On February 23rd of this year, a man named Francesco Ravelli died of pneumonia while he was in Hartford County Correctional. He's dead. We heard Representative Hughes talk about it. We've heard Robin Porter talk about it. Representative Porter say, these are people who will no longer have an opportunity to speak. This is real. And I get these calls all the time. I get calls from Barbara Fair saying, "Hey, we got a guy up in New Haven County who got roughed up by some guards. Let me know what happens when you get the pictures of the assault. See if it's worth a case." And I can only take cases that are worth 6 figures because everything else I can't litigate. And there are hundreds of thousands of those cases that happen every day. And I sit here, and when I saw Governor Lamont on February 29th, and it's leap day, so I'll keep saying February 29th because it's fun, right? I said to him, "You have a very bad record on criminal justice. You fired Carlton Giles because he was opening the doors to prison. Then you gave us the whitewash with Deidre Daley of the state police ticketing scandal. And now you're doing this to me." And so I sit here, and I want this process to move forward because I get people who call me and I say, "Look, I can't help you, but I'm waiting for the ombudsman position to be filled so we can direct your calls in a manner that can be of assistance." And I have to catch a train back to New Haven. And I want to just indicate that the DOC continues to run roughshod. Right now, there are cases that the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities is trying to take against the Department of Correction. And the Department of Corrections lawyers, through the Public Safety Division of the Office of the Attorney General, are attempting to graft the federal standards of the Prison Litigation Reform Act into actions brought in the CHRO. So the idea of let's you and him fight, right? CHRO and DOC using state resources to battle it out over human rights. The DOC is saying, no, we're not even going to use this. And they may have sympathetic ears within the judiciary that are going to say, oh, you know what, maybe that's right, that the administrative exhaustion requirement of the PLRA applies in CHRO, and this is just, there are so many little things like this that we deal with on a daily basis, litigating against the DOC. And it's frustrating because we know that there are real people suffering behind this. Any efforts to water down this position with political compromise destroy the integrity and the utility of this position. The motion for reconsideration that the Executive Nominations Committee undertook was, I was told by some legislators, a scorched earth policy by the governor's office, and people in the know are surprised that the governor took this path. And I still have not heard an explanation why I was passed over. I can guess. Right? There's a $40 million settlement that closed down Northern. Right? I know. I have deposed 40 people in the Department of Correction over the last 7 years. I know how things work. I know who's in charge. I had to, before I was made to interview with Angel Quiros, and I had to tell, Attorney Braswell and Johnny Dack and Patrick and Matt Brockman that, look, he's a defendant in one of my cases. I can't talk to him without representation. Right? Exactly. I have a professional obligation to not talk to him. And I was told, well, you can talk to him. We're going to waive that. The case that he's a defendant in is of Daniel Webb. Right? Who spent 26 years in a 7-foot by 12-foot box in Northern with Richard Reynolds and a lot of other people. And so as I'm sitting there interviewing with Angel Quiros, I'm being told that I'm too litigious. And I'm sitting here saying the state of Colorado and the state of California settled their hepatitis C lawsuits in 3 weeks or less. You made me labor for 4 years.
Right.
I lost my shirt on that case. But put it on my tombstone. There are 1,000 people who are cured of a fatal disease because of the advocacy. And that's what I go to sleep at night saying.
Amen.
This is what we do. 20,000 people were tested at hepatitis C because of that lawsuit. But it cost the state $40 million, and God knows they don't want to give black and brown people that kind of money. Say it loud. That's what's happening here. I'm not blind to the situation. I've read James Baldwin. I understand. I'll never know what it is to be a black man in this community, but I know what the phone calls are that I get. I just, and I understand what the systematic institutional racism that destroys lives is. I live in Fairhaven Heights. I lived in Asylum Hill for 24 years. I lived on Laurel Street. Right? I've seen it. I understand it. And I have to catch a train at 11:18, so I'm sorry that I have to go. But I want to thank everybody for being here. I appreciate. Thank you. I want to say I appreciate the courage that Ms. Carpenter and Mr. Brockman and Mr. Hoolan show by being here. I would appreciate it more if they showed the courage to fight the torture that happens on a day-to-day basis in 15 institutions across this state. And there's no question in my mind that some sort of horse trading took place to switch 5 votes. And that position is now compromised because a favor was traded. And I have told this to Hillary. Hillary called me and asked me, are we good? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think so, but like, I really think that we need a person in the position who is not already compromised by the governor's power broking.
Right.
And that's the issue. And I don't know that I deserve it. I don't know who does at this point. If there's another process, I don't even know I'll apply. But what I will say is that I have seen how naked power works. Mm-hmm. And this is an exercise of naked political power to prevent any sort of accountability of a $600 million a year organization that is dedicated to torture.
Wow.